Waking up before sunrise. It's not easy, but there is something so satisfying about starting your morning before the rest of the world is awake, capturing that early morning light, or the fog, or the emptiness of places that are usually filled with people. That's satisfying. I recently decided to embark on a 7-day sunrise challenge, and what that meant was that I was going to wake up every morning before sunrise, go somewhere, and take pictures. Now, the hope, of course, is that I would be able to capture 7 beautiful sunrises. But the reality is that weather doesn't exactly work that way. But regardless of what was in the forecast, I wanted to train myself to wake up early and accomplish something all before work. It wasn't about capturing the most beautiful images in the world that I would consider worthy of posting on Instagram. Instead, it was about just showing up, about committing to something and doing something that I'm not really used to doing, which is waking up really early. In order to succeed with this challenge, there was a very, very important step that I had to take. And that is, I absolutely needed to pack my camera bag the night before, shower the night before, lay out my clothes the night before, and have my breakfast ready to go the night before. I found that this was the key to my success. Having everything ready to go meant that I literally just had to roll out of bed, grab my things, and leave. If I had woken up and had to spend another 30 minutes getting everything together, packing everything up, I don't think I would have gotten myself out of the door. So preparation was a big part of this for me. Okay, so here's how it all went down. Day 1. I started this challenge by heading to one of the most photographed spots in Washington, D.C., the U.S. Capitol. And I got lucky. The colors were beautiful that morning. However, I forgot my ND filter that morning, and although I was still able to do some long exposures while it was still pretty dark out there, I know my shots could have looked even better if I had brought my ND filter with me. For these photos, I primarily used a wide-angle lens, the Canon 16-35mm version 3. Day 2. Arlington. Waking up was still hard, but once I was out of the apartment and in the car, I felt awake. Just over the bridge in Arlington, Virginia, there's a spot near the Iwo Jima Memorial where you have a beautiful view of Washington, D.C. I arrived right before sunrise and stuck around until it was completely light outside. For these photos, I used my Canon 70-200mm f2.8 and was mostly shooting at 200mm. Just finished day 2 of my 7-day sunrise challenge. Full disclosure, I skipped yesterday. Yesterday it was raining so hard in the morning. There was 0% chance of sunrise. There was not even a chance that there would be like a sunrise poking out of the clouds. I skipped it. It was straight up rain. You know, every morning that my alarm clock rings at 4:45, I'm like, there's a little voice in the back of my head saying, "Go back to sleep, Nicole. It's not that important. You don't need to do this every day. Nobody's forcing you." Like, there's literally nobody pressuring me. It was just my own idea, right? But then I'm like, no, I'm gonna do it. I need to be determined. And so I just get through those first 10 minutes. And once I'm through like 10 minutes of staying awake, I'm good. Then I'm fine. Then I'm awake and ready to go, and nothing's stopping me anymore. It's just those first few minutes that are the hardest. Day 3, the Lincoln. Although I planned to check out other nearby cities, the reality is that I would have had to wake up a lot earlier in order to drive to them. I decided to go back to Washington, D.C. because it's only a 20-minute drive for me. On this morning, it was really cloudy, and unfortunately, I did not get the sunrise I had wished for. I was surprised at the number of people who were at the Lincoln that morning. I was expecting it to be empty, with maybe a couple of photographers around, but the reality was that there were a handful of people hanging out with friends there at sunrise, or rather, the lack of sunrise. Day 4, the sunflower field. I had gone to this field about a week prior, but it was such a beautiful spot that I wanted to go back again. The first time I went, I had this beautiful fog that covered the whole area, creating really moody-looking sunrise photos. I was hoping to have that again. This time, however, there were more clouds and no fog. Wow, okay, so no sunrise at the sunflowers, but right next to it by the river, there's some cool light. Day 5, a storm. I knew this day would not be worth photographing, but I decided that I would force myself to wake up anyway and try to capture some early morning storm photos from my balcony, just so I could keep up the challenge. But the storm wasn't even a good one. It was basically just a morning of steady rain, so I took a few photos that are not even worth sharing, and I went back to bed. I already skipped one day a couple days ago because of rain, so I wasn't about to skip another one. That just feels like too much. So here I am. Day 6, the duck pond. Another morning, another trip to Washington, D.C. This time, waking up was starting to get harder. I was losing excitement because the weather hadn't been that great. But I forced myself to get up anyway. This time, I set up my camera and tripod at Constitution Gardens, a small park with a pond and a little island. There's a great view of the Washington Monument from there. I had a little bit of color peeking through the clouds, but by the time it was light out, it was completely cloudy. I think I picked the wrong week to do this challenge. I've really struggled with getting good weather. The beginning of the week was perfect, beautiful sunrises, and then the end of the week was just kind of like this. But that's how life is. You don't always get that picture perfect sunrise just because you planned for it that week. Sometimes you get blessed with rain, and I say blessed because there's beauty in rain too. And I live here, so I can come and do these shots again on another morning, but if you're traveling, for example, and you really want to get that sunrise shot, you can't expect that there's going to be a sunrise on that one day that you're there, But regardless, I'm happy I did this. I'm happy I got myself to just be outside in the mornings. It's very peaceful, it's very quiet. I can talk to the camera right now without anybody walking by and looking at me. I'm not really someone that likes to vlog in public, so it's perfect. Day 7, the Tidal Basin. After a couple of disappointing days, I checked the weather and I knew this last morning was going to be a good one. My original plan was to photograph the sunrise in nearby Annapolis, but the chances of a colorful sunrise were a lot higher in DC than Annapolis, so once again, I went back to DC. You guys have probably seen the Washington Monument from tons of different angles by now, but here's another one. And this one was definitely worth waking up for. So one thing that is very evident to me is that not all sunrises are created equal. Some are more beautiful than others. And if you've ever shot sunrises, you'll definitely see the differences in color that different mornings create. People say that it's best to have between 30 and 70% cloud coverage. Anything below 30% is just not going to be as colorful, and anything above 90% is just going to be, not a sunrise at all. Now, throughout this 7-day challenge, I had maybe one or two, probably 2 days that had the perfect amount of cloud presence to create those beautiful colors. And overall, though, I had way more cloud coverage than I had hoped, as you guys saw. But if I was waiting for those perfect sunrise conditions before even leaving my apartment, I would have been waiting for a very long time. It would have probably taken me at least a month to film this video. Instead, I decided to embark on this challenge with whatever nature decided to give me that morning, and to just appreciate the beauty of early mornings, because beauty comes in many forms. There's beauty in clouds, there's beauty in rain, and of course, There's beauty when you have the perfect conditions. By the way, if you enjoyed the music that you hear in the background of this video, this is actually from Epidemic Sound. They offer awesome cinematic music and sound effects for YouTube videos. So if you want a free trial to download as much music as you can and want to, definitely check out the link in my description. I've been using them since before I even had a single subscriber on this channel. Anyway, that's it for today. Subscribe if you are new to my channel. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. And as for me, I'm gonna go take a very, very long nap now. And maybe when I'll wake up, it'll be time to photograph the sunset. That seems so much easier now, doesn't it?